Questions, and not to say I don't want questions. I want you guys to question everything, but I do want to kind of move things along away from this noisy street corner. So thermal imaging is the first thing we're going to be using. So not me, you guys. So this is the legit thermal imaging camera. So this is a FLIR Pro 1. This is what firemen will use to actually help save people. So why would we want this inside of a ghost hunt? How so? Not cold, right? We're looking for cold spots, literally. It's the old adage that ghosts create cold spots, which is legitimately true. So obviously I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy in there. And sorry guys, but I'm the hottest thing in the video right now. So that's just kind of how chuckles. That's good. You guys are gonna have a good time. So it's kind of like my barometer. Like, do I get a good laugh? Do I get a silence? You know, so. But with that, we're looking for blue and black to be able to move on their own or take shape on their own. There's also a blue dot bouncing around the screen. What that's doing is giving us the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So that way it'll help direct your eye when you're watching your video, when you get it back, of where the coldest spot is actually going to be. So with that, I'm going to see if I can get names right. So we had Ozzy and... Don't tell me. I lost it. Ari, got it. Ari, this one's going to go to you, my friend. So you're going to hold this horizontally all night, basically right-handed, and the red square means that it's recording. Yep. Just make sure whenever, we're going to do a few starts and stops, just because the hardware sucks for the FLIR. So the hardware is great, software sucks. So that's the start and stop button. Make sure you're always in this position when you restart it. So that way the video isn't upside down for everybody else. Okay. There you go.
This thing really locked.
Yeah.
Let's get the next crazy camera guy going.
Look, that window's very cold.
Yeah.
Because of the AC.
Yeah, look at it. It's like
Glass is always colder.
You
Always,
can see it coming out that corner. That's so funny, where it's like...
It's like pitch black.
Once I could find the way to plug it in, it would be super great. No, I work in the dark.
Wait. Hello, Ozzy. Wow.
It's Ozzy with it.
Ew, he's really scary.
Ozzy's now he's
Wow.
Alright, next camera, just so everybody knows. You guys should not see me totally clear in this little tiny GoPro. Nope. It should be pretty dark in there. Yeah. Again, this is your quick demo. We're going to turn on some lights. So now we're working with infrared lighting, so the entire screen should be lit up or illuminated purple. This is a light that we cannot see with our own eyes. So the whole point of this is that we're going to be able to capture something we would not be able to capture with our own eyes.
Like orbs?
Orbs. This camera is fantastic for picking up orbs. When I have my groups of 10 out, I will break out lasers so that way we can detect motion with this camera. So again, lasers are usually like my last resort because there is a laser law in Charleston. So it's usually the last thing I bring out. But with that said, Ozzy, this one's going to go to you, sir.
Oh, nice.
Look at you, man. You're like, oh yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the record button now. It will lock up. I just want to capture it early. It usually only does it once. So just let me know when it locks up and freezes so that way we can fix it.
How would you know?
The screen won't move.
Oh, okay. Frozen. Keep track of it.
That's an infrared.
Infrared.
That water's pretty
Infrared.
cold.
Infrared.
I'm looking for ghosts.
Spirit boxes.
Right here.
Yes.
Ghostbusters.
What?
Not really.
Just slide it on, catch it all.
That's
We're
a
gonna
ghost
see how
trap.
hot everything is. Wait, let's see
Not a
how
spirit
hot your
box.
face
I need to
is.
listen. Oh my
So
god.
obviously an explanation of spirit boxes is needed. So it's perfectly fine. Spirit boxes are going to be a way for us to communicate with the dead. We're going to be using 5 different types of spirit boxes tonight. They all do something a little bit different. This is, if you watch the TV shows, this is basically the white noise, and then your host will kind of tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it, trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing that in real time, only mine are slowed down on purpose. Why? None of you are trained to listen to white noise, plus all of my history I'm going to spout off for 2 hours. Somebody's going to fall asleep. So I have it slowed down so that way the radio chatter actually comes through. If we can make out the radio chatter, song lyrics, DJs, commercials, it's a 50-50 shot. If we can make it out, we can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're already discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. Let's see, this one's actually going to go to you. So the cool thing about this is that she's going to be the only one to hear it in real time, but this one is recording. So you're all going to get the recording back tomorrow morning. So you're going to have an earbud in, and that way you can actually share it because he's going to have a device too. So this way you guys can actually work together. And again, you can mess with the volume all you want to, but I'm going to spot check this guy in the morning, so I'm going to be writing down whatever Lexi hears in real time, but I'm also going to be giving you what I catch when I'm going through it in the morning, so that way you're going to kind of have the double standard. So with that said, it's already recording. The only thing you need to worry about is, first off, these are yours. Earwax is gross. You get to keep the earbuds. I don't want them back. The volume button is right here on the top. I'm making sure it's turned all the way down. It's a wheel, not the button. If you feel like a very distinct button, it's not that.
I see your neck is 105 degrees.
So go ahead and get a feel for that. And undo the switch ties for your earbuds.
How about my mouth?
I do like running 2 of those specifically, but this one is not going to record.
Wait, Ozzy. Hold on.
So I'm going to be relying on the person in real time,
111.
whatever they hear, to be able to tell me so I can write it down. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this sweep, and it's already ready to go. Emily, I think I'm going to go with you on this one. So again, earwax is your own souvenir. You get to keep that. The wheel is right here. I'm going to make sure it's turned all the way down so you don't get blasted when you pop that earbud in your ear. And it's not super loud. It might be for some people, but it's really not super loud. So this next spirit box works completely different. This one is going to replace what we would normally see as an obelisk on the TV shows. So this is going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. So the cool thing about this is it's going to save all of those words to a list and have a timestamp next to it. So that way I kind of know if something is relevant, where to watch the videos, where to listen to the spirit box recording, so forth and so on, to see if we can match things up. Last night we actually had 86 terms show up. I'm going to clear them out. I'm going to tell you right now that this is a phone app, and this is actually meant to try to scare people. 80% of what comes out of this thing is going to be garbage. It's the other 20% that's going to be super relevant to where our location actually is. So with this one, Sarah, was it?
Yeah.
Am I getting names right? Look at
Yes.
me go. You would think with me seeing 60 to 70 of you guys a week, I would screw somebody's name up from time to time, but I'm usually pretty good.
So I just hold this.
You got it. And I will come to you when I want to see the word list.
Okay.
So I don't want to see every word that pops up. We're going to be out here.
That's your
till 4 in the
face,
morning to
Ozzy.
do
I
that.
know. Ooh.
Mary, was it?
Yes.
Good. So, yours works completely different.
Cool.
So yours is going to sweep through both FM and AM radio stations at the same time. The cool thing about this one particularly is it's going to attempt to take out the white noise that Emily and Lexi are listening to. So yours is only going to give you about 10 to 12 terms total. So what I'm going to ask you to do is try to be as close to Ari as possible, because this one doesn't record.
Okay.
He has audio. So if you miss something, it'll show up on the audio. That's the whole point. The only thing you need to worry about is actually how to hold it. So let me get it started. The blinking
gotta be
lights are
next
at
to
the
me.
top. On the right hand side is a mute button. It's the only button there. So I already have it muted so I can kind of get through the last device, because I'm sure Jesse over there is like itching, like what the hell is he going to give me now that all this craziness is going out. So with that, that's the only thing you need to worry about. So I'll let you know when it's safe to unmute it.
It's the sky!
Holy cow. That's going to be super cold when you look at it.
Yeah, go look at that ice over there.
He doesn't
Pile
need to
of
go
ice.
far.
It's 60 degrees. Actually, it's more like 70. Oh, it's going down rapidly.
Cooling off the ground, I'm sure.
Wait, how hot is the thing you're holding?
My milkshake?
Nope, not at all.
It's like 81.
All right.
Seems hot.
It is.
Jesse, you're going to be on double duty. So, because you're going to basically be working with another spirit box too, I wanted to give you 2 simple jobs on top of that. So these you guys have probably seen on TV, right? K2 meters. This is going to measure electromagnetic fields. So
Whoa.
any kind of wiring of any type from a building, a parking meter is going to make it go off. Even your cell phone will make it go off if it's close enough. I have the colors memorized. You just need to tell me what colors you see when we get to specific locations. So that one you don't have to push any buttons. This one's a point-and-shoot camera. I normally don't hand this to kids because they don't know what the hell it is. They all use their cell phones today. There's no flash on this. Take as many pictures as you want. Selfies will be deleted, just so you know. A lot of people like to mess with me. I did delete 10 from last night's tour. It was super funny. They're making goofy faces at me the whole night. But what's great about this is wherever you want to take pictures at. Because there's no flash, try to be super still. Otherwise, every picture is going to be blurry and there's going to be light streaks through it, and I have to try to debunk every single light streak. So, but again, tons and tons of pictures, hundreds if you like. Doesn't matter to me. All the pictures that I can do anyway. But again, 2 simple jobs because you're going to be helping Lexi listen in on the other side.
Yes.
Okay, yes,
That's
Which
the ice.
color is relevant?
anything above that.
That's some
Anything
cold
about-
ice.
Get any flicker whatsoever.
How's my toothpaste?
And last but not least, Mr. Thomas. You go by Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrifying.
So
Really?
Yeah.
your device
Spreadsheet?
is going to have 3 different functions to it.
Here,
as
do the
well.
toothpaste one.
So this top number is basically the same thing that Jesse has, only it's in digital format. So they are in the same units of measure. So anything above 2.5 is his second green dot. I want to know what's going on above that. So 2.5 and higher. The bottom number is ambient temperature. So Ari.
Yep.
Aha. So he finds anything on his camera, you and I can debunk it with the yellow probe at the top. It's ambient temperature. The last thing is it has a motion sensor built into it. So in the event something gets close to that antenna, it's gonna go off. So I'm not touching it right now. Obviously I'm touching it now, higher pitch, different color lights. We're gonna talk more about that at our second stop from here, because that's gonna be the first place we actually use it. For now, kind of get used to how those numbers move around.
All right.
All right, you guys are all geared up.
Yay.
Ari's in charge, let me know what happens.
Okay.
I'm kidding, don't go anywhere. I always put the kids in charge. Just to make sure everybody's paying attention. Alright, so, of course, we start here for a reason. Aha, of course the place is haunted. Big John's behind me, and of course that was why it was in your text, so that way you knew exactly why we were going to be talking about Big John's. So, I'm going to take a drink, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to make me talk all night. Is it true?
Yeah.
I think it's
Yep.
true. Big John's used to be
I
owned
thought
by a
I'd take
football
me a
player.
drink.
This was his bar. His name was Big John Kennedy. Now you can see why it's called Big John's. He used to play for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always slow down, because I talk so fast, on the specific keywords for all of the spirit boxes in play tonight. The keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, and anything relatable to a bar and the name John, just so you kind of get the gist of where we're going with that. Well, here's what happened here and why the place is haunted. John used to sit in the back of the bar and would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink, so he has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off, and they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, he slams down his beer, he gets up, and just starts pounding these guys into the floor, beating the hell out. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. Now, John's been the only one that's been shot, but he's the one that gets up, goes back to the bar, and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor in ambulance. Now, irony of the story is that nobody died. Normally, if I tell you a building's haunted, you automatically think of some tragic death that occurred here. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. You got something going on? I've seen the hand
Yeah,
raised.
it
Like
froze.
it froze perfect,
Yeah.
so I can fix it while I'm
Perfect.
talking. Good deal.
Good job, Oz.
I like where he raised his hand like it's cool. It's awesome. So, the bullet hole is what's haunting the place. Even if this new renovation of Big John's filled it in, that means Big John's blood is still in the building, because I'm sure they did not clear out every single drop of John's blood. So, people that sit in the front of this bar where that bullet hole is, they tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. Yeah, the power button is right next to the shoot button.
Just turn off.
Yep, it'll turn off after no activity. This is kind of the heated warning, everybody. You're going to be dealing with paranormal activity, and hopefully you're going to know it based on the devices that you're using. I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you, so I need to know if you guys are getting headaches, queasiness, nauseous, like any of those things. It's very important. That way we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair? That is the scariest thing I'm going to tell you guys all night long, just so you guys know, because it's the truth. So let's get our minds off our own health, right? Shall we?
Yeah.
Same building. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't know that from any other historical tour in Charleston, because we all talk about it, you do now. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and you can see the shadow of that ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. He said allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue because I don't want everybody to be thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go obviously up this way, and hopefully that car is not going into our lot.
I'm pointing at Big John's. Actually, I just see Mary's face. Okay, everything's fine. Oh, we're going. Yeah, I'll do that. Right now, I'm just pointing this way. I'm not going to.
Oh, he was talking about Mary.
Why would Mary run into it? Mary doesn't have a...
No, running into that thing that was in the street.
I thought you were talking about the pole.
No.
We're going to be listening to this, and it's just going to be like us just talking about random things all the
Yeah.
time.
Hey, kangaroos.
Yeah, you're supposed to stay to me so I can catch your audio. It's going to say things.
Out loud? I'm not making a single noise.
I mean, it will.
I wish it would.
Well, we're not doing anything with ghosts yet. The sky is really cold. Oh, God.
Precisely.
My voice just
That's
broke.
what it said. Ugh.
Wait, what?
Oh, feel it now. Just say fogging like that to let him know, and his name said precisely.
Precisely.
I don't know what that truck is doing, because this parking lot is actually one way. Good luck with that, buddy. All right. Part of the reason why I brought us all the way down here, because to set it this way. So welcome to the Big Red Barn lot. We are not going to spend a lot of time here. This is just so I can start, telling you more about your devices, and that way you guys can ask me more questions about your devices. What's so significant about this place? This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. They can hear us. There's no glass in those windows, as you guys can see, which is part of the reason why we use the earbuds for our spirit boxes.
That's the barn right there?
What's that?
That's the barn?
Mm-hmm. That's one of them. So that's where palmetto carriage works.
We're horse people.
And you didn't smell them a mile away?
Oh, yeah.
I thought for sure.
That's
It's
really
actually
hot.
a little tame tonight. I'm usually
I
immune to it
might be
because I'm out here every
immune
night.
because I just am.
Yeah, I'm out here every night. So
Oh, wow, it's
with
very
that
hot.
said, the horses do not like the white noise, so that's why we use the earbuds. And it's also where we're going to keep yours on mute while we're here. But again, we're not going to spend a lot of time here. The history here is really simple, and I kept it that way on purpose so we could talk about your devices. So, this is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston, 1860s to 1920s. So, obviously the keywords here being delivery, milk, eggs, anything relatable to a stable. Spirit boxes, let's get started with those. There's a lot of you in play tonight. I think there's at least 4 that I know of. Yes, so there's 4 out of my 6 that are out tonight.
Oh, my
So
finger fell.
everybody wants to ask the same question whenever they get a communication device. What do you think that question is? Think of a Ouija board. What's the first thing you ask a Ouija board?
Are you here?
Are you here? Right. So if Lexi hears no, that means somebody's here. Right? So we are not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. Do you have the answer no or something? Oh. Hopefully it's not going to be.
This old
Hopefully.
guy just jumped twice.
And we got the word brutal, so that's not good.
Brutal?
Yeah.
Oof.
Right? So, with those specific questions, some of these locations, I will be giving you questions that you can use that I commonly get answers to, or you can kind of go rogue as long as it's something we can actually prove. So, for people learning how to use a spirit box in a space like this, I would normally tell you to ask questions you already know the answers to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. I say looking because Sarah actually has a list she's looking at. The rest of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available to be able to get a direct answer, but fire truck, blood, heart, those 3 things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the Big Red Barn? Blood. Cool. However, most of the night, I'm going to require 2 pieces of something going on to be able to verify each other so we can actually make sense out of it and call it paranormal. Another example. Let's say Sarah's word list has the word art on it. It doesn't right now, it says extended. But let's say it says art. That doesn't mean anything to us by itself. But then, Mary. Mary, yeah, I'm gonna get them right. So Mary actually hears the number 40. Put the 2 together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where we're gonna be putting these clues together all night long? That's why I love to use so many spirit boxes at one time. So again, you guys are all going to be hearing something different. None of them are synced up. That's why we do it this way. So that's the whole point. And again, remember, those of you with the earbuds and Marys, you're going to be using song lyrics and DJs for messages. It might sound funny like, hey, buy a Kia today, but I want to know that you heard buy a Kia today. The word buy might actually mean something to the location of where we are. So again, drop it like it's hot. Might be something specific to that location. People laugh, and that's, again, I've been in places where there's been fires and we hear drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. And then the year of the fire comes up. Happens all the time. So these are the kinds of things you're going to be listening for all night long. Cameras. So there are 3 of you with cameras, including digital photography. I want to kind of point out first and foremost that we are going to be in spaces like this where there's going to be parked cars and people walking by. People do not like their picture taken, they don't like to be filmed, and they definitely don't like their cars to have pictures of and filmed on camera. So if I do Andy's coming, that means you're basically playing with a cell phone. You're going to be basically pointing your camera to the ground, and then obviously you're a tourist, so you can take as many pictures as you want to. So again, people just, I don't like to run with 8 people. It's never fun. Let's just put it that way. It's not like I've never been screamed at for filming somebody's vehicle. They don't know what we're doing out here, but I will tell you, if I was a car thief, that thermal imaging camera would be my first tool, because I know how long that car has been sitting there based on its heat signature. No idea to the kids in the group. So, I know, right? So the only thing I need to fully explain next is going to be Thomas's device, but I'm going to explain that like on a private one-on-one with him at the next location, as I want to get away from football players and ponies. Does everybody have a good gist of their devices? Do you have any quick questions before we move
Your
on?
number's going up.
I feel like it always specific.
Nope, just nice slow movements.
It's scanning the
slower
radius.
better. Oh, I did not
stations.
completely give you the full explanation of your thermal imaging. My apologies.
Okay.
So even though I just said don't film other people, I do want you to try to keep one of us in the frame at all times.
Okay.
The reason for that is we're going to be the warmest thing out here. Our skin temperature. It's going to be much easier to find cold spots if there's a hot spot in the frame.
Okay.
The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out. The reason why is that blue dot that you see bouncing around your screen
It likes to
automatically
go to the
defaults
sky.
to the sky every single time looking for a surface, and it's not going to go to the coldest spot inside of everything that actually has a surface. So again, it's going to be impossible to do that in some places. Just try to do your best.
Yeah.
And again, nice slow movements out of you, sir, and you'll be good to go. Again, the slower the better. Nobody likes to watch the Blair Witch Project over and over and over again. If you're not sure what that
If he
is,
gets
it's
to
an
a
old
point where he's like,
Yeah.
So do like I always record like
I'll give you I'm always going to give you guys cues of when we can start and stop certain videos and certain things like that. So I'm pretty
okay,
good
it's
about it.
recording right now.
Yeah, and I wanted to.
Okay.
As far as the party of 6, by all means, switch it around. If somebody's getting bored with something or you want to see something else or whatever the case might be, switch it up. I'm good with it. Just keep it within your party. It's the only thing. That's why you guys have so many devices between the two of you, so that way you guys are all working together.
So we can switch.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go for it.
Not right now.
All right, let's get away from these football players and ponies. Let's go this way.
Mary, you gotta stay
If I
next to
talk too
me.
fast for you, Ohio, let me know. We're actually going to go over it this way.
Alright, I'll keep you in the frame, so I can catch cold spots.
Yeah, look for cold spots.
I can't look for cold spots while I'm moving
Oh,
because
it
they're
froze.
again.
Yeah.
Did it freeze?
Yeah.
Dang.
I did.
Parking hourly rates. What is the parking hourly rate? Tell me. It didn't tell me. One of the ghosts is gonna tell me what the parking hourly rate is.
All right, so with your camera, because it looks like it's freezing up like around 8 minutes or so, I want you to start and stop it every 5 minutes. So that way it'll kind of help keep your focus on that timer too. So have you ever used a GoPro before?
No.
Okay, so your start and stop button is right here on the right. It's a red light. You'll feel the button. Just stop it, give it a second, and then start it back up again. So now you're in charge of fixing it every single time.
Okay.
Wow, it's
Alright.
scanning all of those.
Welcome to a parking lot, everybody. Congratulations, you
Wow.
made it. By the way, if you guys don't know where to park by the time I'm done with you, I don't know how to help you. Like, we're going to be hitting some weird spaces, like I said. But this place used to be something. But I do like to point out, first and foremost, all of you Spirit Box people, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. So I'm going to withhold information on purpose, so that way you guys all have a genuine experience. Again, you're getting all of the verification links tomorrow morning anyway. The good thing is we have 2 out of the 8 cars leaving right now, so we're going to have even more space to work with. Super great. So what is this place? This place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Number of people are driving by, do not film them, do not film them. There you go. Good job. Andy's coming. So, how many got that reference, right? Toy Story?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sometimes I say it and you all look at me like blankly, like, what the hell's Andy's coming? So toys have to drop to the floor. Don't drop the stuff on the floor. But anyway, so Eliza and their mansion actually sat in the front. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So, who the heck were these people? They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. Now do you guys see why we look for that secondary verifier? Again, we need to know who the hell we're talking to. A lot of these people are going to have the same names. But anyway, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Pretty important stuff for us South Carolinians, but I hate politics more than everybody here, I promise you.
Not more than me.
I know, man. I have to talk about it every night. But with that said, we're going to move on anyway. So let's talk about Eliza. She's way cooler. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. The reason I bring it up so specifically is because she came from colonial times. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14. Just kind of keep that in mind for all of you Spirit Box folks. The reason I bring this up is because her husband, Charles, yes, one of the 3 Charleses, was over doubled her age. It was kind of a creepy age gap back then in colonial times, definitely a creepy age gap now. So kind of keep that in mind as you guys are going through it, and you're laughing hysterically. I find that funny. So she married Charles because her father was over in England, and he thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. He's trying to bring them all home. and she didn't think he was dying. So she stayed put, she got married. It's 1744. You don't get married for a green card in 1744 because we're not even a country yet. So with that, she was right. Dad did not die right away. So he starts sending her gifts over from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour or so. You've probably seen the word indigo somewhere that I know of. So again, it's all over town. What the heck is indigo? Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. So some of you actually have it on right now because that's how we use it today. But when Eliza got these seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated because again, it's not always hot here. So once she figured it out, she moves into a plantation, calls Dad and says, rice plantations are going downhill, we can make a killing with the indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is something absolutely unheard of. So that's the business and boring stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here, I promise you. So let's kind of go through it. She's like, this guy's crazy. Like, you just keep looking at me, like shaking her head, like, wow, how does he talk so fast? Again, it comes naturally. Let's kind of go through a series of questions with what you guys can actually ask. So I'm going to start with you, Sarah. You actually have, obviously, the word list. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza back-to-back from Charles. The first wife died in January of 1744. Then he marries the one I just spoke of in May of 1744, 5 months later. So it's either really smart or really stupid to marry a second wife with the same name as your first wife. So it just depends on how you look at it. The ironic piece of this is that both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Find out which Eliza we're dealing with. You can also go after the ages at Eliza the second, we'll call her the second one, at the time of her marriage and see if you get specific numbers out of it. Lexi, you are going to go after the children. I told you there's at least one. His name was Charles, right? Signer of the Constitution. There are more. So you can ask how many and what their names are. That's it. Why? Because there's a tragedy among those kids, and if you poke the bear, we're all going to know it was you, because all activity will stop. And I'll kind of know it because I'm going to be bouncing around with everybody. I will tell you all what that tragedy is among those children, but just don't poke the bear. Let's see if we can get a number and what the children's names were. Let's kind of go with that.
How many children and what their names are?
You got it, and we're going to stick to that for now. If we start getting specific names, I'll kind of give you a little bit more. I want to just feed it a little bit and kind of see what's going on with it.
Do I hit this list right here?
What's that?
Do I hit the list? Do I hit anything?
Yeah, so to actually get to your list, you just hit that little scroll to the right, and it'll show you everything that you've gotten so far, and you'll be able to scroll through it, and the only way to get back to it is the top right. Just make sure you don't hit the red X's. That'll take the word out of the list. No pressure at all.
Okay.
Next spirit box. Emily, right? Yes, look at me go. I got most of you down. It's these two that I'm going to get confused. So it's Ozzy and Ari, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Aha, got it. So with yours, the mansion. It's not here anymore. You can obviously, actually no, I'm going to switch that up. Those questions are going to go to you because they're simple answers. Ask what happened to the mansion and when that happened. So, hopefully we're going to get a specific date. You know, numbers obviously count for that too. With yours, I'm going to go after Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to about her death. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So you can ask any one of those questions and just kind of keep it rolling and see if you get some answers. So again, because I kind of segregated this is kind of a new method I've been trying instead of just throwing all the questions out there because nobody remembers all the questions. Then you all come back to me and say, what the hell did you tell us to ask? If you ask your own questions, just make sure, again, it's things we can prove. So again, I will tell you, being back here in the servant slave quarters, a lot of people like to try to stay back here. I can't prove anything from back here because there's no records, unfortunately. So as far as we are going to spread out, I'm going to keep Thomas behind so I can show him more about that motion sensor, but we're not going to be filming cars, obviously. What you got?
Do I need to record?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should already be recording.
Yeah, I wasn't recording. Okay.
Is it recording now? Perfect. All right, so no in between cars. Don't be filming cars. Have some fun in here. Nice slow movements out of the two cameras between the two of them.
Yeah.
And remember, you want to try to stay close to a camera too, so in case you miss something. Go ahead and unmute it. Let's get those spirit boxes loud and proud, and let's see what we can find out of them. I'll be bouncing around with everybody here in just a minute. But now that you know how to get to your word list, you're usually the next person I go to show you how to get to that. That's perfect that you kind of reacted it. So.
Okay, Mary, you gotta stay next to me because I got that. Turn it up a little bit. Can you?
When was the mansion torn down?
Roll. It's like screaming. Oh my god! It sounds like it's exploding and screaming.
I just have an L bell.
Can you turn it up at all?
I need to listen.
That is screaming. Ask again.
What happened to the mansion and when was it torn down?
Oh. Can you not turn that up at all? What's that? That's really cold. It's metal. There's what? Why is that so cold? What the?
Huh?
There's like a really cold spot on the ground. Where's it going? It's running away.
Oh.
It's going this way. Oh wait. I think it's the shade. No, it's nothing. It's just, what the? Nah, it's nothing. I'm hallucinating. Maui. That is not scary.
It is a little scary.
Not scary at all.
There is something there.
That makes scary sounds. The ground's really cold right here.
What is it? When the video's like too loud, it's like ear
rape.
rape. That's what it sounds like.
Sorry, my hand was in the way. I apologize, anyone who's watching this video.
Wait, what are you doing?
My hand got in the way.
Hey, wait, I'm just gonna run.
Those are people. You see them? You see those people? There's no cold spots by them. What's that? Whoa. What are those outlines? What are those? Oh, my hand got in the way. Ask a specific question.
I did. I said, what year was it taken down?
Are you getting any numbers? This ground's pretty cold.
Emily got mashed potatoes, 30 in Frank Ocean.
She's getting 30.
Yeah, she got mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes 30 in Frank Ocean?
Yeah.
You can't talk to me. I'm really trying to listen to this.
Well, be next to me. I gotta catch shit.
Okay, why was the house torn down? The mansion.
That's her milkshake. That's not a cold spot. Ozzy, have you gotten any orbs? That was a number. That was 1. I'm just gonna leave. Bye.
Scary. I did
Ma-
not say that.
I heard you got mashed potatoes and Frank Ocean.
And 30.
Mary's is making terrifying sounds. Like it's like screaming and explosion sounds.
Can't get that close, it needs to have a signal.
Maybe those are the sounds of the mansion getting taken down.
Might be interfering with yours, I feel like.
Mashed potatoes and Frank
Who
Ocean.
else had a spirit box? So, Miss Mary, what do you got going on?
Not much.
Again, you're only going to get about 10 or 12. So it's just a matter
That's
of,
fair.
you know, it's very accurate though. Yours,
okay.
that's the most accurate spirit box I have out here.
I'm listening.
So, and you're on the right path then. What do you got coming out of yours?
I got the number 30.
Okay.
And I got disrespect. And I got mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
And I heard some Frank Ocean.
What song?
I don't know, it's too fast.
Oh
Well,
man.
with that, I don't care who you hear, it's a matter of what were they singing. So if you heard Harry Styles, like say, sing As It Was, I want to know that you heard As It Was, not the fact that you heard Harry Styles. Is that fair? Okay. So, numbers are usually good. 30 doesn't mean anything.
I feel like I knew that song.
That is terrifying. That thing's terrifying. Why did everything just get suddenly cold? I feel like it was just hot and now it's really, really cold.
Your hands on it.
And it's not. And now it's hot again. This seems
hand
weird.
is on it.
No, it's not. Where? The camera's over here.
Oh. Yeah, your hand's on it. Oh, no, this is the camera.
This is the camera.
Oh, okay.
Are they getting haunted? I see them. Those are 3 people right there. Ozzy, move. What are those white outlines? I need to go ask.
There's 36,000 tons of freezing. That's the.
There's a bunch of like white outlines over that way.
Yeah. So anything because you must have tapped the button. Oh, it's okay. Just want to hit that top one for me. Perfect. So the white outline is going to give you, because it doesn't see in 3D. So the white outline is to
Remember,
help
you're turning
you
it off,
see it in
turning it back
3D.
on.
Good thing we only lost 3 minutes on that one.
It froze right here.
It's freezing so much.
Yeah, this is actually an older model because my newer model's in the shop right now. And I had to break this one out, and this is exactly why I bought the new model, because this one loves to freeze.
Great.
So hopefully it doesn't do it to you all night and annoy the hell out of you. So again, let's go down to 4 minutes on that then. So that way we can kind of move in more footage.
It's cold up there. It's a car.
Where's the money? You should listen to this thing when it's like doing stuff. It's literally.
It's scary. I'm gonna see if there's any cold spots in these.
No, seriously.
You angered it by asking it where the money was. Garbled static. What was that sound?
Skin. I heard the word skin.
Skin.
See if she'll let you use the other ear. How you doing on that guy?
I heard the word skin.
Skin.
Yep, and rich girl.
It's good. You're actually getting things out of it. It's good. Were you standing here the whole time? What's interesting is we have the word black that showed up on another, like the word list.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that as like black skin,
Yeah.
and then
And then if
they're
I
looking
was
at
a rich
Eliza
girl?
as the rich girl.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very interesting that showed up that way. Again, I can't prove it. But
How's it going? I'll be near
Very
you.
cold ground.
It is. The ground is freezing.
I find like standing in one spot with this thing is much better than walking around.
Ask it another question.
Okay.
Ask the slaves what they think of Eliza.
You already told me that, so
Rich girl.
yeah. Is Charleston worse than Savannah?
What if she says yes?
It just says yes.
What did it say?
Something.
Why, yes, in fact. Here, I'm gonna see if there's any cold spots by her face. There is, it's right now, it's the metal thing that I keep thinking is a cold spot. That roof. Have fun with that.
I know, exactly.
anything else crazy? Nothing. Come on back, guys. Let's get over some answers. Did you both hear it or not?
Said must see.
Word nice. Alright. Wait for everybody to come over.
I have not seen any moving cold spots.
Alright,
So.
so go ahead and stop your cameras. Kind of give your hands a break from holding them up that way. You gotta wait.
Yep, I'm recording now. Okay. That's cold down there. There's something really hot right there. What is it? That is really hot. That right there.
This is a creepy alley.
Yeah, it's spooky. There's all the ghosts here. Woo!
My spirit.
Look at the generator. Spooky.
Alright, so first and foremost, we are in a quiet area, so I'm going to have you mute yours. You're the only one that has a noisemaker at this point, and somebody is in the hotel room behind us, or behind y'all, so it's not ringing. What did you guys hear along the way? Talk to me. What do you got?
The spirit boxes.
Nothing. Did you break it? Anything pop up at all?
Not when we were walking back.
Okay.
Did you get any words?
I just got a word.
What'd you get?
Scripture.
Yes and no. Mary, anything out of yours? No. Alright.
Got silly before that.
Alright, so what I did not explain back at the Pinky Mansion site, go ahead and turn the REM part off. That's the white button in the back. We're only going to be using the red screen here. I did not explain that we got a 22 milligauss reading when we were back at the Pinky Mansion site in Thomas's device. What the hell does that mean? So that device, if you were to actually walk around your home with it, behind your TV, it's going to give you about a 40 to 60 milligauss. That should give you an idea of like how much electricity is
What
running
about this one
behind
right
it.
now?
That's coming probably from the building behind you. So that's a steady reading. I consider that a man-made rhythms and pulses, and a steady reading is usually, like I look for flickers on that one.
Okay. You're right.
Yeah, I'm here 7 nights a week, bro. Sorry.
You do this on your free time too?
Yeah, this is all I do. I write books, and I have blog, podcasts, and I take you guys to go something. So that's life. And yes, I had a real job once. If you want to hear about that, that'll be after the tour. But anyway, back to the millimeter. So your microwave running on high and you're standing next to it with that thing, and it's obviously the door is shut, you're going to get about 150 to 170 milligauss out of the reading on that guy. Now, your device only goes to 25. That's why we use it to debunk things like the building behind you. Yours, the highest reading I've ever seen out of it, came out of the Pinckney Mansion site at 214 milligauss. That's dangerous levels, especially for somebody who has seizures. So again, we had to get the hell out of Dodge. It's kind of a scary moment. 2 people verified it, me and somebody else that saw the reading. We had to leave, so I had to stay safe. So again, EMF can mess with your brain. That's the whole point of it, and why we actually measure it. Why I'm talking about this here is because we're going to be using this device on the bricks that we're standing on, but let me explain first. When we came over that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, named after King Charles. So, you're standing on one of the first streets that Charlestown ever had, which means people used to live here. These 2 big buildings we're looking at weren't here. There were little tiny houses here. I have the full list of every person that's ever lived down here. So, I normally get the same names every 6 to 7 weeks. Right now, we're in like 5, 6 of that loop. The names that I normally get are Benjamin and John. They sound like 2 very common names, but when I say people live down here, I'm only talking like 5 people at a time. In 1801, there lived a Benjamin and a John. Now, John's a very common name. You would think like, oh, big deal, John. There was 4 different Johns that lived down here in the 60-year time span. The John we're looking for, his last name was Johnson, and yes, he will give us his last name, John Johnson, all the time within that 6 to 7 week loop. That's what actually caught my attention about all of this to begin with. Why is this happening? It's the stone tape theory. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These bricks have been here since 1739 that we know of. So, these things are made out of granite. There's not supposed to be any EMF anything that comes out of them because they're made out of granite. Okay, it's not quartz, it's not a magnet. Place your device on any brick that you choose and see if we get any kind of number out of it, or go ahead and leave it there. Like, place it on the ground. It's okay, we're not going to kick it across. But I see the 4. Now we have a 5.4. We shouldn't have anything above a 1.1. That's the natural EMF from the Earth, just so you guys know. So again, the highest I've ever seen it go to is all the way up to 15. And again, I've been doing this every night for the past, I don't know, 2 months, testing the bricks. And again, it's a random brick every single night. We never know what's actually going to come out of here. We're getting closer to my 6 to 7 week loop, and no, I was not expecting any of you to hear Benjamin and John tonight. Again, I didn't want to tell you what those names were, giving you that subliminal message, so you said, oh my god, I heard Ben. You guys see where I'm going with that. Before Freemason, you can actually pick it up. I don't think we're going to get anything else out of it. 2.2 to 4.0 is the highest number I think I saw. I'll write those down. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. So,
Yeah.
raise up again?
Yeah.
The Masonic Lodge is basically gave the alley its name, Lodge Alley. It's a Masonic Lodge. So we do get terms wrapped around Freemasonry here. So obviously the word brick, Freemason, Mason, and the word Illuminati loves to show up on these red spirit boxes that you two are using. Now, my question to you is, who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio where we're getting our messages from? The second thing I'm going to point out is I only hear that when we're in this space. And it's been verified every single time. 6 times last year, so far 3 times this year. So again, Illuminati, very weird term. You obviously think of Freemasonry whenever that word comes up, but I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories with everybody here. We're talking ghosts tonight. So here's what's going to happen from here. Because again, that's all the history here. Again, we are basically waiting for something to happen. I would definitely take the 2.2 to 4. Like, those are pretty decent readings, considering some nights I get nothing. So take that for what it is. We're going to go to another alley. The funny thing is I can't take you all the way through it. Why? I've been booted out. You guys all have my blinky lights and noisemakers and all that kind of stuff, and it is considered residential at the end. So again, we are not allowed to go all the way down there. It's not fair for my groups of 10 to be investigating around other groups of 20 to 60. I say 20 to 60 because Charleston actually allows us to go to 20 people. I just won't do it. It's no fun for any of you here. So you guys are getting the point. We're all having a conversation here rather than me telling you random stories to a large group. But it's not fair for you to try to investigate a small space like this with 20 to 60 other people in it, because it is a very popular ghost tour stop. So kind of keep that in mind. The whole point of us going there is because it will stir up enough activity, and the word ground is going to make a whole lot more sense once we reach that location. And yes, I will tell you how I got booted out of the alley, because that's the whole fun part of the whole story, what everybody wants to hear. So, as we exit, those of you filming, I want you to stop as we exit. So,
Okay, yeah.
we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next alley, so let's let the gentleman pass on through. Again, we're going to be cutting through that neighborhood. We're not going to be recording anything in any neighborhoods. And of course, the EMF meters, again, same principle, parking meters are going to make it go off, so don't get too excited. So let's go head up to this other next crazy alley, and we'll see what happens up there.
I got 2 more words, Shane.
Oh, look at you interrupting me. I love it. Do it.
Jog?
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
No, thank you? Okay. And Greg.
1G or 2?
2.
Interesting. Greg. There might be a Gregory on there, and I think that there is definitely somebody with the last name Grieg. Like G-R-I-E-G. So interesting that. Very weird.
Is anyone getting it? I got Nick. It's close. Gregory's next.
Why is this alley so cold? Like everything in this alley.
I will love it.
That corner is freezing.
Where?
That one.
That one?
Back there.
Go slow as
Whoa. 9.2. That's a crazy brick. Okay. I'm gonna stop recording.
Through there, and they did not pay to be filmed discreetly, not a YouTuber. There you go. He's got it now. Alright, so welcome to Philadelphia Alley, everybody. Did you hear anything along the way? Nothing.
Do I
Anybody else
record?
hear anything? We gotta get you working on
So
it.
do
You have
I-
the one that's recording or not recording?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
So,
she has.
do I record?
Okay.
Yeah, you're recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of keep it nice and still. Just kind of rest it on your gut there. There you go. Perfect. So this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston, which is why every ghost tour loves to come here, and we all tell the same story, only you're going to hear it differently from me because you're ghost hunting. This isn't a campfire ghost story. You need more details. So here's how this one goes. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Here's the word Brown. We are literally about 1 to 1.5 blocks away from the Pinckney Mansion site where we got the word Brown earlier. So obviously I'm going to be looking for things like doctor in Rhode Island while we were over at the Pinckney Mansion site to verify that it was him over there. This keeps happening, just so you know. That's why it's such an uncanny occurrence for me, because again, I keep getting things relative to this story over there. It's very, very weird. But anyway, back to the doctor. He moves down here from Rhode Island because he's supposed to get married. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? But his fiancée, Amanda, she just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. And she has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So he moves to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her money. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. So what happens from there is somebody's walking by and sees what's going on. His name is Ralph Isaacs, and I'm going to stop there because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I. shows up here all the time, but these are the two main characters, and we need the secondary clue to verify who it actually belongs to. But with that said, Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you. I know him. And he's like, I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. And the longer the doctor stays in Charleston, his practice starts to take off. He's making his own money now. Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. I will tell you that every haunted city you will ever visit in the future has a whistling ghost. It's a cliche. We all have one. I actually have proof of this one. So let's finish the story and I'll tell you how. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the way things go back then. So they're talking about this play on the way home, William III, and they start arguing over the new actress that was here. The doctor thought she was great, Ralph not so much. It gets pretty ugly when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways, pretty pissed off at each other. Now, Ralph is from here. He puts an ad in the paper with his friends in the newspaper, telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Basically a giant disgrace, and he's overcharges, yada yada. You get the point. Kind of a jerk move. But the doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. You're laughing. What do
I
you got?
got pistol before, like a couple minutes ago. Like about a minute ago.
We normally get the term gun. The fact that you have specific pistol, and these would have probably been flintlocks at the time. So again, I'll look into it to see if there's more. I want to see if there's going to be more attached
I
to
got
that.
stressed before that.
I'm
too.
sure there was a lot of stress up to the fight. So, but Ralph, he has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor, and he drops to the ground and doesn't die. His friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, probably from trying to bleed out the bullet himself because he did refuse medical treatment. The guy's a doctor. He probably tried to do it himself. So the campfire part of the story that they're all telling down there is that as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Now, here's what I used to do. I used to take my groups all the way through here using my voice recorder to see if there's any whistles. If you're going to do this on your own without me, of course, because I can't take you down there, turn on your voice recorders on your phone, and keep in mind that every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street from the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. They all do it. I do it every night on my way back home from you guys. We're going to end there. My garage is there. I have to pass the alley in order to be able to get to my car. So again, kind of keep that in mind. It's not going to be very obvious when you hear a whistle. So the other thing they say is you can hear gunshots while you're down there. I don't have any proof of that. I would just point that out there. What I will tell you is how I got booted out. I took my team down at the end, and let me tell you why I took them all the way down to the end. This alley, before it was Dueler's Alley, used to be called Cow Alley, and it didn't come all the way through to this Cumberland Street side, which meant there was basically a wall at this side. It kept all the livestock for the city of Charleston. The bricks on the other side are older than the ones we're looking at right now on this edge. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. I'm sure you guys picked up by now that I'm all about the history. So those bricks, actually one of them has a full handprint in it from a slave child, and then there's fingerprint swipes in some of the others. And I would always point them out to show how far we've come. And I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. Nobody's hanging out staring at that brick in the afterlife. That poor kid is not staring at that brick. Everybody on November 26th of 2020 on my tour that night wanted to huddle around that brick and try to get some activity from an EMF detector, a spirit box, whatever we were using that night. And it's right outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. We were out of bounds, and I was in the wrong, and he come out screaming. My daughter thought it was fantastic. She was on the tour that night because Dad's getting yelled at. Now the next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour, so that was November 27th of that year. Yes, you had the word Thanksgiving early on. Thanksgiving, I worked in retail for over 20 years. I'm sure you guys can realize why I took Thanksgiving off my first year doing this. The next day after that, I got a phone call. It's November 28th. Yes, these dates matter. The tourism office called me asking me to either go down halfway, like what we're allowed to, or reroute my tour. And again, I already told you it's not fair for U10 to try to investigate half a space. So I decided I'm going to reroute on a go tell a story I didn't even believe in. So I told my team we're going to wing it and see what happens. Before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating female pirate Anne Bonny. I get up there, I told what I did know, I told them I didn't truly believe in the story anyway, and then somebody hears the number 300 out of one of their spirit boxes. I didn't know what that meant until I was doing the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was on November 28th of 1720, the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I am going to take us back up there again, because I keep going up there night after night in hopes that we're going to capture more evidence. Again, that was 2 years ago, nearly 3 at this point. It is a hit or miss location. What I will tell you is because I am a vampire guy, I was not a pirate person, which is part of the reason why I didn't believe the damn story. I had to read a shit ton of books to be able to verify enough evidence to be able to capture it, so that way we can go investigate night after night. Worst case scenario, you're going to learn a whole hell of a lot about pirates that you never knew before. So, Anne Bonny is a very interesting character, and if you're a fan of any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, we're going to have some ties to that and show you where some of those lores actually came from. So it is a very interesting story. Before we leave the space, cameras, go ahead and stop. And do we have anything on?
That was my noise I make when I start recording. What do you hear?
I was just listening to hers because I was curious.
What does it sound like?
It sounds static with some noises.
All right, so one of the things I like to do when we get over here is kind of show you why all the other ghost tours are across the street. Point out that there's 2 different sides to the cemetery. So this is the western side, right behind me, behind this ivy wall, and then they're all on the eastern side. First off, you should also know that John Calhoun, for you history buffs, is buried right on the other side of this wall. So that's your 7th vice president. But the reason why all the other ghost tours love to go to the other side is because there's a sign right inside the gate that says, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason for it. So, quick story. 18, and by the way, it's usually their big dramatic ending, so I let them have it because they actually have some kind of proof out of it. So your proof is obviously you're collecting it, so that's the big difference. So, with that said, 1888, a young lady dies by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. So I want to point out also her initials. We just talked about Ralph, and initials actually mean something, and I get it all the time. This is going to be very cheesy, very campy, my apologies, but I've seen it and heard it. Sue Howard Hardy. Shh. I know, but again, we get it all the time, so kind of take that for what it's worth. She dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Yeah, very sad story. 1987. 99 years later, local photographers taking pictures of all the cemeteries, putting a book together. He captures a full apparition in one of his photographs when he's developing them himself, because it's 1987. That's just what you did. But he doesn't know what's going on with the photograph, so he sends it to Kodak to try to figure it out. Kodak doesn't know what to do with the picture either. So when we get it back, it's a matter of, for guys like me, this thing is actual proof. For people like him, he doesn't know what to do with this thing. But the picture is cursed to females. So when I go around kind of the whole room and show everybody the picture, don't touch the tablet. Females that handle it, even in a digital format, it is said that it's going to have the same symptoms like what we talked about at Big John's. The headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Pregnant females, not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story of a stillborn child. I'm not going to be the guy where somebody had a great vacation and 9 months later I cursed your family. So again, even if I have to give you a link to be able to verify something, your link will say warning cursed photo. Again, I take my job very seriously, as I'm sure Jesse just figured out when he asked me that last question at the last location. Like, is this all you do? Yes, ghosts all the time. Ghosts, ghosts, ghosts. So I'm going to go around the horn with the photograph so you guys can all see it and know why all the other ghost tours stop at that particular stop. Because again, it is their big finale, and I'm kind of ruining it for you if we take another ghost tour later.
Would blanket have anything to do with
That's why I'm talking about this.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why is because this is the full picture. This is the apparition. She's wearing a shawl over her shoulders, and there is a baby basket next to her, and that is Sue's grave. So again, this is probably another instance where the baby is buried with mom. So that's the full picture he took, but this is the full apparition. Her shoulders, she's praying over her own grave with the baby basket next to her. So I don't always tell this story every single night. It was just a matter of, we got the word blanket that showed up.
Where is she?
So you're looking at her back. This is the top of her head, her shoulders, and then the baby basket is right next to her.
Oh, okay.
Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's
Yeah.
one of those kind of things. So she's praying over her own grave, and the baby basket, even when you zoom in further on a computer, you can see the weaving of the basket. Like, that's just crazy to me.
That's insane.
I don't know if this has to do with anything, but like even when you touch the screen, it's like really cold on the camera.
When I touch the screen?
Like even when you touch it and like it should like heat up from your finger, it just
Yeah.
goes back to being really cold immediately.
Interesting. And you were filming it?
Yeah, I'm filming it.
That'd be an interesting thing for me to study. But again, I don't always tell this story, obviously because of what I do for a living, but the word blanket did show up. We have...
Jaw?
Yeah, I got nothing down there.
Does 1,300 make any sense?
300. We just talked about 300.
Yeah.
I had line before jaw, but
I'm also looking at, as you said, 1,300, which looks like 1,300. The building we're going to be talking about was finished in 1713. So again, I need another clue to kind of verify what the hell's actually happening. So let's kind of get into why we're here and what we're doing actually here, instead of this crazy story from across the street. Was anybody planning on going on another ghost tour? Did you guys have anything else booked, or am I it?
Nope.
You're it.
All right, I'll take that. Oh, I guess my tickets are expensive
It's
enough,
been
right?
0 since I've done.
Did I say that out loud? I did. I know I'm more expensive than everybody else. There's a reason for it. I'm not cheesy and campy like all them other people. So we are at the Powder Magazine. So that's the little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. I want you to know that first off, those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're unfamiliar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles that go through the whole building from one side to the next. In the event we have another earthquake, like what we talked about at the beginning in 1886, you can turn those turnbuckles and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again and helping with any kind of damage. It's a great idea, and some of you looked at me kind of goofy, but no, it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. So the reason I point these out is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. And that's because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. Obviously, I already said it was finished in 1713. So, but you guys have already seen earthquake bolts all over town. You just didn't realize it. They're pineapples and lion heads, and that's just part of the Charleston charm. So again, none of them work, just so you just know. But we talked about the Charlestown walls earlier when we were back at Lodge Alley. This is the street that we crossed where the wall actually stood. So where that garage is where the wall stood. We're still inside the original Charlestown walls. It went up past the Powder Magazine and started going south behind me this way, locking it into the corners on purpose. This building held gunpowder for 7 different wars. If it gets attacked from a pirate ship or Revolutionary warship from 3 blocks away, first off, it's going to have a hard time making it this far. Second, if it does make it this far, the walls are 32 inches thick, so it's going to have a hard time breaking through. But we're going to pretend that it does, and it blows up the gunpowder. Underneath those red shingles that you can actually see, there's sand underneath the shingles. During its construction, it was placed there to go up with the explosion in the event it did get attacked, and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. The sand is still there. Another great idea, but that doesn't work either. So we had another Powder Magazine closer to the battery. It did get hit, sand went up, the building burned to the ground. This one's just never been attacked. So the Civil War was its last servant, just so everybody knows. It served 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So why the hell are we here, and why are we talking about this old building? This is what I call a familiar. I kind of labeled every location where we've been. The familiar piece of this is the fact that Anne Bonny started her pirate career here at the same time this building was being constructed. So let's kind of get into this building's construction. Did you
I
have
had
something?
familiar earlier.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Sorry for the language, but sometimes there's an oh shit moment. Like, okay, it actually repeated something I wanted it to. So, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. But in the middle of its construction is when our story begins. So 1708, a young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormack. You guys are going to have to follow me. There's a couple of twists, and yes, I talk fast because there's a lot of details. Anne Cormack moves here from Ireland with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Are you guys all with me so far? The three of them are running away from his wife. How angry was she that you got to get your ass in a boat and leave the country? Just saying. But anyway, they land in Georgetown, just north of here, between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad buys a plantation, Mom dies pretty quickly. So that means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to be able to sell anything from the plantation to kind of keep things going. I was going to say, what signal is that? Who's coming? The alien's coming too?
Oh gosh.
So Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her slaves when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. We did have Under the Knife earlier, but again, that was a little too far away for this story. So somebody heard that on one of the spirit boxes. I don't remember who it was. But at any rate, fast forward, building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne's going to fall in love because she wants her freedom. And guy number one, yes, I'm going to keep tally. There's a handful of them. Guy number one turns out to be James Bonny. You can already see where this is going because we already mentioned Anne's full name already. But Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica, they get married, and Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, famous female pirate. Now when you get down there, this is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. It means he's a spy for the British, and he's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she wants. So a few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number two. This guy's name is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. Calico Jack is the real person that they based the Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. Cool. So, yes, very cool. But Calico Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Why? They're bad luck. So, he dresses her up as a guy and says, if you want to be part of the pirate crew, you're going to dress like a guy, but you're going to be a female and like porters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's do this. We're pretty much mostly adults here, put two and two together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby over here. These are friends of mine, they'll help you. Come back later, we'll figure it out. I know, it gets crazier. Wait. So I love when I get reactions like that. So anyway, she has the baby. She comes back with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty angry. And while she was away giving birth for his child, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. Guy number three. Guy number three turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have two females dressed like guys on the same pirate ship. Her name is Mary Read. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers, because we're never going to know for certain, and the British find out where they are. Now, Anne and Mary are the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight against the things, because, with their one bullet flintlocks, by the way. That's all they have, because they don't know how to use the cannon yet. So, it's a whole fleet of British pirate or regular ships, so they're coming to take them. They're obviously going to get taken. So as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. The word dog being a very prominent spirit box word here. So, the judge, he wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly on their own because Calico Jack and the drunken pirates who wouldn't fight are already hung. They're dead and gone. They were already tried and done. So the two ladies go in front. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. That's what they were hoping for. They would save themselves, but they're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail. Dad's still here in Charlestown with all of his Irish money. And there's Jack. Is that Jack? We have several cats that run around here. And I don't think that one's Jack. I don't know who that one is. Yeah. But anyway, you reset it by the front button, Thomas. I can see you fiddling around with it. Just hold the front button down for about 10 seconds and it'll reset.
Nice.
Dad is still here in Charlestown with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home, and she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Read. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending because we don't know much about Anne Bonny after her pirate career. As far as Mary Read goes, she died a year later in that Jamaican jail in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination on that one. Unfortunately, I have to think about it every single night, and I'm sure it's scurvious and nasty. So 2 questions I left out here for you because you Spirit Box folks, you guys know what you're doing by now. The only things I can actually truly prove, and unless of course you want to come up with other questions that I haven't heard yet, the name of Anne Bonny's parents, that would be the father and the mistress, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. Those are 2 questions that you can definitely get yourself started with. Everything else is going to be fair game. I am going to keep you for 1 more minute. I know I just gave you a ton of history, but I like to tell you why I gave that heated warning at the beginning of the tour. So, back in September, I brought my teams back here to this wall, and I come back here because the other tours like kind of cut through this way. We just stay out of their way. But the kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost and is about to drop like a wet noodle. I have to pick him up by his armpit to catch him. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side. We get him over to that wall. He's feeling a little bit better after we get him some water. I then tell the story. It's important to know he doesn't know the Anne Bonny story that you all now know. They pull me aside after I spread everybody out with their devices, and they say, Nick, we got to tell you, we are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males on my tour, just like Anne and Mary from the story, and it made complete sense as to why one of them passed out the minute we entered the space. It was not a humid night, it was not a hot night, it was like a cool 68, 69 degrees. Craziness. These are the uncanny things I see all the time, but I will tell you the psychics and mediums normally don't make it through my entire tour. They usually drop at the Pinckney Mansion site based on the high EMF readings that we get on a rare occasion there. So again, kind of keep that in mind. Those of you with cameras, to spread out in this location, camera people, you can leave the lot and make a left on the sidewalk and go to the front if you'd like and get some footage of the front of the powder magazine. You guys are actually going to do all the work at this point. You're going to come to me at the wall in about 5 to 7 minutes or so and tell me what you got going on with your Spirit Boxes, but you look like you got something to tell me already.
When we were on our way over here, I had my daughter.
Yep.
And then, but I also, it came up like really high. It was soon and then appearing. I don't know if that means a thing. But then I had tub just now.
Where did the millimeter go? So with the millimeter, I definitely want you to turn on the REM pods. Thomas, you have to show them how to do that. But one of the things, like the numbers, you're not going to get a whole lot of numbers around here. The reason why I'm bringing up the millimeter is it's all about the colors. I've been asking Anne what color her hair is with that device, and she's been showing us.
Ooh.
Yes, very cool stuff. Last night she actually gave us the color on your word list, and then who has the, Mary, you have the other one. It actually gave us the answer on another night with yours. So again, very cool stuff.
Purple.
Reset it.
What were the 2 questions we're asking again?
Anne Bonny's parents, Calico Jack's ship. All right, let's spread out. Let's have some fun in here. This is our last stop, everybody.
And then you're asking her hair color. Okay, do you want to go around to the front, Dada?
Where
Every time that goes off, click it. So that little button that he shows you here on the right, you want to click that bottom button every single time it goes off.
Hey, Bonnie. Come on, Bonnie. You're bad. You're like you was the night. That was in the gut. That's what's what. Come on, Anne Bonny. Show me your face. Anne Bonny, come and get in this place.
Imagine those things that was your first ever topic.
Anne Bonny. Where's my Bonny? Anne, my Bonny. And Bonnie, where you at? And Bonnie.
Ask some questions.
I did. I said, what was the name of the ship, my brother?
Jack Rackham.
It's gotta be Sparrow, right?
Like somebody, you watched Black Sails, didn't you?
He loves pirates.
I just finished it, so
So great.
it was. And I loved the person they picked for Calico. Like, he was awesome. He was my favorite character. It does.
Are these ghost tour people?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go around the front.
Just don't interrupt the other tours if somebody's saying anything.
Those are some scary static noises.
Huh?
Those are scary static noises that come out of the thing.
That or this?
Like the static that comes out of the spirit boxes. It's
Oh, yeah.
scary.
What are those interruptions saying?
Right.
I did not find
Did you get some
anything.
footage of the front?
I did. I didn't see anything.
It said important place.
Important place, and she has the word place. So it's almost like a double whammy on that one.
What's wrong with that?
You had 1300 as well.
I've been getting the purple.
I said the brick.
Purple? Good.
I don't know if that means
It's
anything.
not the color of her hair, though. Just so you know.
The brick.
She didn't have purple hair in the early 1700s.
What was the other question?
What was the name of her parents?
Oh, the name of the parent. Tell me the name.
Her and Bonnie.
Tell me your name.
No,
Your
not her name.
Your mommy's name.
You're gonna upset them. Here, do you want to do the heat cam? I'm gonna send a spook. Reach out?
Relation?
That might mean something. She had like very many relations.
She did.
You know what song that is? There's a lot happening. Ask again.
What are your parents' names?
Tell me.
What was the other one?
The Calico Jack ship.
What is the ship called? The Sparrow? What?
I used the Sparrow. Jack Sparrow.
Exactly.
What do you have?
I just got action.
Ooh. That's weird.
Are you getting anything? Is it just creepy static noises?
What? It's so funny. -2.
I just heard these are my socks.
Okay. I heard Christian earlier.
I heard light. My poor ears.
I heard Snapchat. Oh, nice. I'm sure that's really relevant.
I'm looking for Anne Bonnie. Anne Bonnie, can you show me your cold spot?
What is the ship named?
Be more specific. Be
What
like,
is the Calico
no,
Jack?
be like, Anne Bonnie, what is Calico Jack's ship named? Ghosts are stupid. They can't understand you either.
Who?
You should tell him that.
He'll probably pass out.
No, but seriously, you should tell him. That'd be crazy.
It's so scary.
Hey, do you want to switch things?
Sure.
Okay, how's this work?
Just
E.
tells you noises.
How are you guys doing on that? Anything coming out?
A lot of crazy noises. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Radio signals. Let's head over towards the wall, guys.
Still do this.
Hello? I heard
hey, what is
a Baby
Calico
Keem
Jack?
song.
What's it called?
What was it?
Orange Soda by Baby Keem.
Oh my god.
You know that song?
Yes.
Get on my face. Check.
Which part did you hear?
I just heard the, like,
The beat.
and Harry Styles as it was. So, pretty good. Oh my gosh, it's like doing everything. Mainly purple, red, and green.
It's weird. Didn't do any of that for me.
Purple.
Like,
Oh, it's also 2.6. Probably.
I like it.
It's a museum. So it has a lot of the artillery and the uniforms from the wars. So
She's
quick
really
$5 for a 30-minute tour.
taking it
Place, you know,
seriously.
when you get out of our heat,
Sarah's
or,
got,
you know,
Sarah's got the words, man. Sarah's got the most action. You've got nothing.
probably because you were walking.
Oh, Ari is. Maybe I was just the wrong person to hold that device.
Blue Ship, Mayflower, and Nissan.
Nissan probably not.
Nissan.
And car dealerships just now.
I heard pay too much for gas.
I heard that too.
I'm going here.
Get a second job for gas.
I'm not writing down Nissan, obviously. This Calico Jack ship was definitely not a Nissan. So, all right. So here's what I'm excited about. I'm excited that the RAM. Go ahead and turn that little white button off in the back. Before
Can I-
it's kind of getting a little bit jolty.
Tell you any of the words I got?
Get
Go for
cash
it.
when
Tell
you
us what
buy
you got.
gas.
Alright, I got place, action, Monday, driver, worldwide, prison, and size.
Ooh, prison.
Not the Mayflower. So the red that showed up on the motion sensor,
Just got
that
small
is the color
size.
of Anne Bonny's hair.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that getting a red reading on that device is a rarity. The only time I've ever seen it is when I've asked Anne directly what her hair color was, and it went straight to red.
Yeah,
So, very interesting. It's perfect timing that I actually came over here when it started drizzling, because I'm going to obviously start collecting these devices. But of course, for those of you video recording, go ahead and stop your videos.